Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go through the topic of rapid fat loss, aggressive dieting, get the fat off ASAP guide. So this is technically a protein sparing modified guide, a complete guide. So I want to try and cover pretty much everything as much as I can within a video on YouTube, right? Within reason. And this is a tool that you can use. Now the emphasis is going to be the word tool. This is not a long-term solution. It is very much a short-term solution, but can be fantastic for the right person and can absolutely not be for you as well. So education is key when it comes to these kind of things. And as always, if you're approaching any sort of extreme diet, always consult your doctor before you do anything crazy. But the rapid fat loss diet has been proven time and time again when you follow specific protocols. So what kind of results can you expect? Let's give you some idea. So these are just some clients I've worked with in the past who have approached me and said, I would like to go through more of a rapid fat loss approach. Molly, when I worked with her, she lost about 13.5 kilos in 16 weeks. She averaged around 800 to 1,000 calories per day, somewhere around there. And you can see it's literally just a drop. Another client I worked with previously, Georgie, lost 8.6 kilos in 12 weeks, averaging around 800 to 1,000 calories a day. I know this is low, right? And you can see obviously there's a really big weight drop at the start, then it starts to just plateau off. You're always going to get slight bumps and increases and decreases over time, but what we care about is that weekly average. You can see a little bit of social eating that popped up here and there, then we got back on plan, hit new lows, and then we finished up. Now here's a current client, so these are two female clients I trained. This is a current client I trained who is a guy. So Sam's gone from 134 kilos down to 115. He's currently... helps if I can spell calories, right? Being a weight loss coach. He's currently around 1,500 calories a day and his maintenance is about 3,000, right? So half of his maintenance, people lose their minds. They're like, what? That is insane, Shannon. What are you doing? You're going to destroy all of his muscle. It's not how it works. So I've been working with Sam for close to a year. We've gone through periods of consistent everyday weight loss, right? And then we've gone through periods of rapid fat loss. Then we've gone through periods of life when it's just busy and it's just been hard to get back into a deficit. It's been hard to stick to the plan for whatever reason. So we've been following more of a maintenance approach, whether it was by choice or not. Sometimes it just happens, right? And then we've hit this point where Sam's decided, you know what? I'm ready. I'm feeling good. Let's push it hard for the end of the year. And we've dropped calories hard. He's stuck to it. It's a high protein diet, minimal weight training, and you can see he's absolutely just crushing it and he's hitting some all-time new lows. And this is currently at the time of making this video. Is it easy by any means? No, it is a very hard diet. But for some people, myself included, eating more of a rapid fat loss approach, meaning very high protein, very low calories, my appetite switches off. So for some people, this actually works amazingly well because they lose their appetite and they kind of eat for the sake of eating. But again, this is not a permanent solution by any means. This is just a tool in the toolbox. So what is it? So a protein-sparing modified fast. It's a controlled crash diet designed to get you maximum fat loss results while keeping your muscle. You are not by any means building a significant amount of muscle during this time. Your goal is pretty much to maintain your strength. And there is going to be a few non-negotiables within the program, obviously. But we call it what it is. It is a controlled crash diet. It is very low calories, right? And I say that multiple times because I want that to be drummed into your head. This is not a long-term solution, right? There is more than one way to skin a cat. Who is this for? So you've probably seen this chart before. I've talked about this many times. This is probably going to be for more people in this category. So if you're average, so for example, if you're like 20% as a guy, 33% as a female, somewhere in those ranges, potentially as low as 15% or 24% as a female, you could still use this approach, right? So your deficit could still be as high as like 40 to 50% on the high side. But this is going to be much more beneficial if you're in that overweight to obese category. So people usually diet wrong. If you have the ability to, right? If you came to me and you're an obese client, let's say you're morbidly obese, you've got 30, 40, 50 kilos of fat to lose. But then you go and hire a bodybuilding coach and they're like, we're going to start you on 3,000 calories. and then we're going to drop 200 calories every other week. Every single week you're going to be suffering. All right, it's like I'm currently getting settled with the calories I'm eating, and now my coach is dropping my calories more. And I'm just finally getting settled again, and now my coach is going to drop calories even harder. And the next week I know I'm going to be suffering more because there's going to be another drop coming. I like to do it the opposite way. I like to start clients aggressive within reason, right? Obviously, this is a rapid fat loss approach. Start you on the lower end, because when you're the fattest, when you have the most fat available on your body, is when you can go the most aggressive without health repercussions, right? Does that mean you have to eat 800 calories a day? No, but this is a rapid fat loss video, so just take that into context. So if you're obese, as long as you're getting your protein requirements and essential supplements, you can eat very, very low calories, and for the most part, you'll be perfectly fine, right? And there's going to be some caveats, of course. If you're overweight, you can still do the same. You can still eat a very high protein diet, very low calories, and still get great results. The problem that you're going to run into is when you start to get very lean. So if you can see abs, right, rapid fat loss probably isn't for you, and or you should only be doing it for like maybe 1 to 2 weeks at most. But for the average population, which is obviously if you're in athletic shape, less than 15% as a guy, so close to that 10 to 12%, or below 20% as a woman, you probably shouldn't be doing this, at least from my perspective. So you need a lot of body fat available to be able to do this. So we want to get some serious results very fast. If you came to me as an obese client and you were eating 3,000 calories a day and your maintenance is 3,500, and you're like, I'm so full eating all this food, and I'm like, no, you have to eat these calories because you're going to ruin your metabolism and blah, blah, blah. I would be doing you a disservice by not allowing you to eat lower calories if you are not hungry. All right? Faster fat loss arguably is better fat loss if you're in this position, because it results in a faster or achieving a healthier body fat faster. And short-term nutrient deficiencies, so if you're not getting all of your zinc, right, all of your magnesium in short-term, in say a 6 or 12-week program, it is far healthier for you to get to a leaner body fat and then just increase your food and diet more moderately than it is to just suffer longer with obesity, right? And this is technically what weight loss medications are doing. So if you were to take, for example, Mounjaro, etc., what that is technically for most people is a chemically induced rapid fat loss diet. That's all it is. Now, this is a completely different video and a completely different topic in itself. But if you're going to do Ozempic or Mounjaro or something like that, which I think they are incredible drugs, by the way. I am pro. You're either pro weight loss or you're not, right? There is no in between. You are for healthier outcomes. I don't believe people who are like 10% body fat should be taking it for like bodybuilding competitions, but people are going to do what they're going to do. But these can be life-changing drugs for some people. And I've actually got a client currently who I work with. It's completely changed her life, which I'll actually do another video on soon. So that aside, you come to me, I'm going to push for the lower calories, or as low as you can get away with comfortably. For the rapid fat loss approach, you're going to be eating very close to 800 to 1,000 a day. That's just how it's going to be. Who is this not for? People with an ED. Do not do this, all right? You need to know yourself, obviously. If you're under the age of 18, pregnant nursing women, anyone with a medical condition without doctor's approval, people who can't commit to the following rules exactly. If you cannot do this, do not do this diet, all right? And I am adamant about that. You'll need to eat a high protein diet. You basically get to eat unlimited veggies, more or less. You do need essential fatty acids, so fish oil. You will eat very minimal carbs and fats because the fat will come mostly from the fish oil. Basic supplementation, expected results on average, depending on where you're starting from, and this is taking into account you're probably going to be in that average to overweight category. You can expect to lose somewhere in the range of about 4.5 to 9 kilos of total weight loss in about 2 weeks, but 2 to 4 kilos of actual fat loss in that time frame, right? So roughly 2 to 6 kilos of fat loss per 4 weeks, every month or so. Much of the initial weight loss is always going to be water. So again, if you have a look at the previous diagram, you can see the big water drop. Now, actually, a way I like to explain this is this water drop here is water retention, glycogen replenishment, whatever it is, right? This is a deposit, all right? You're going to get this back at the end of your fat loss. So you basically drop your calories, you drop your carbs, boom, you drop like 2 or 3 kilos in those first week, and then you get the slow grind of fat loss, which happens to everyone. When you end your diet, boom, it's going to jump up about the same amount that you lost at the start. All right, that's your deposit. This is your fat loss deposit. I'm giving it to you, and you're going to get it back at the end. That's the easiest way I can explain it to clients. Now, when you're setting up your protein, I'm going to give you a very quick example. This is something, and mind you, this is dinner, but this is probably going to be spread across the day. Let's say you need about 125 grams of protein. Very simply, if you ate 300 grams of extra lean beef for lunch and 300 grams of chicken breast for dinner, obviously the leaner the meat, the lower the calories, but I would probably recommend you get some amount of red meat every day. That's 125 protein for only 700 calories. And then on top of this, if you just load it up on a ton of veggies, it's probably going to give you an extra 200 or 300 calories. You're still going to be below 1,000, right? There's obviously other ways you can do this, but this is just a very quick example. This here could be potentially your lunch. This could be potentially your dinner, right? With a side. That's if you're eating 2 meals a day, by the way. What do you need? So protein needs, you're looking at least 1.8 grams to 2.2 grams per kilogram of your target body weight. And this is going to be estimated at whatever your 12% weight. So if you're 12% body fat as a male and 20% body fat as a female, what is your weight going to be once you get there? There are ways you can do this to predict this. This is online calculators. You can go and get a DEXA scan done. You can go and jump on an in-body scan at your local gym. Just get an estimation. An estimation is going to be close enough. Whatever your lean body mass is, go to ChatGPT, say, this is my predicted lean body mass. This is my current weight. What is my predicted weight going to be when I get down to 12% as a male or 20% as a female, all right? You're on the very lean side, by the way. Then you times that body weight by 1.8 to 2.2 grams. As long as you're between these two numbers, you're great. Now, some other people recommend that you should be higher than this. Some people recommend that you can be lower than this. This is just what I found has worked really well for me, my clients in the past. Protein, every meal, all right? These are your staples. Chicken, turkey breast, lean fish, cod, tilapia, any white fish, generally speaking. You can eat, obviously, salmon. I do encourage getting some fish oils in there, but salmon's good. Egg whites, generally, cottage cheese, lean beef, Greek yogurts, protein powder sparingly. So you can use protein powder as an addition just to help top up your protein if you're a little bit short. The rest, you eat as minimal calories as possible and or as many vegetables as possible. Use calorie-free dressings, lemon zest, lemons, juice. Just avoid things like your olive oils and things like that. So any low-calorie dressing on the side is going to be great. Seasonings are fantastic. They're usually really low in calories. Supplements, these are pretty much going to be essential during a rapid fat loss phase. A lot of these you won't actually need to take once you're out of the rapid fat loss phase. So a multivitamin, if you're a male, a men's general multivitamin, as women, women's general multivitamin. You will need somewhere between 3 to 5 grams of sodium per day, so salt your food. All right, salt it a fair bit, by the way. Obviously, if you have any heart conditions, you need to consult your doctor about this. About a gram of potassium per day, so you can buy like an electrolyte drink. Redmond or Relight is a decent brand, for example. You can make your own, obviously. You can just Google how to do that. About 500 milligrams of magnesium a day. Magnesium citrate in a capsule form is usually pretty good for most people for tolerance. 600 milligrams of calcium. Obviously, if you're getting this from dairy, like Greek yogurt example, skyr yogurts, low-fat milks, check how many grams you're getting of calcium, right? This is especially important for women. Minimum 3 grams of fish oil per day. Good quality fish oil. The brand that I typically use is Gold Nutrition, I think, off the top of my head. Generally speaking, the store-bought stuff is pretty average. If you take a fish supplement, and this is, I can't remember where I read this, but I read this somewhere. If you take a fish oil supplement and you get like fish burps from it, it's probably off. Your fish oil shouldn't give you any fishy aftertaste. So pick a brand that is preferably third-party tested. Gold's Nutrition, I think it's on from iHerb. The concentrated version is a pretty good one. There's other brands as well. So Jarrow's Formula, is a decent brand, but there's also quite pricey. So 3 grams of fish oil, you can go up to 10 grams per day, but I probably recommend no less than 3 grams per day minimum. Now, meal structure, generally going to set this up to be somewhere between 2 to 4 meals per day. Each meal is going to have protein and vegetables and fish oil. Plenty of water, roughly 2 or 3 liters minimum. Black coffee is fine, tea is fine, diet soda is also fine. All right, so any sugar-free diet soda contributes to your liquid intake. What not to do. If you're average, I wouldn't average body fat. So if you go back to this, so if you're in this category, 15 to 20%, 24 to 33% as a female, I wouldn't be doing this any longer than 6 weeks without a complete diet break. And a diet break is basically coming back up to your maintenance calories. If you're obese, you can go longer than 12 weeks. It just kind of depends on how you feel, but generally 12 weeks is long enough. And or if you lose about 10% of your body weight in total. These are good signs that you probably should take your first diet break. Basically, you're bringing back your calories up to maintenance. I am going to do a full video on this on how to implement a diet break and how to end your diet and exit your diet with some client results and examples. But 6 weeks maximum, pushing it really hard. 12 weeks maximum if you're pushing it really hard. And generally your calories or your deficit should actually scale up as you get leaner. What not to do. So people think more is better. I'm eating really low calories, so let's smash out the high intensity interval training. Let's train 6 days a week. Let's go for runs. You are not allowed to do this. If you cannot do this, you are not allowed to do this diet, right? Do not do excessive cardio, right? Maximum, go for a 30-minute walk. Just whatever your daily activity is, just go for a 30-minute stroll, maybe a 40-minute stroll, jump on the treadmill, scroll on your phone, do whatever you want to do, right? Your deficit, the calories you're eating, is going to do the heavy lifting, right? By no means, you are not allowed to do any high-intensity interval training, no running. You are banned from running, all right? Not allowed. Light walking, 30 minutes, maximum an hour a day, right? If you're just doing it very slowly. Too much cardio, you will actually get worse results. You will burn out, you will feel like crap, you will blame the program and say, this is the worst thing I ever did in my life. You're doing too much. People make this mistake all the time. You are banned from running. Do not run. I don't know how many times I can say that. Just do a light walk, half an hour a day. I'm sure you can manage that. Do not overtrain. Maximum 2 to 3 days per week. I would actually probably say preferably 2. It depends on how your split on program is going to be designed. You want heavy weights, low volume. So you're only doing about 2, maybe 3 sets per week per body part. So 2 sets of heavy chest, maybe 3 sets of heavy chest at most. You're working in the 5 to 8 rep range per body part per week. So the idea is to maintain your strength and take strength wins when they come. If you can manage to get an extra repetition here or there, amazing. But the goal is muscle preservation. We don't want to lose muscle. And this is the problem with things like Ozempic and Mounjaro. People usually just take these drugs, they don't eat a high protein diet, and they don't strength train. And they just let the drugs do the heavy lifting because they eat very little calories, which is okay. That's what it does, right? But then they lose a whole heap of muscle, potentially bone mineral loss as well if you're eating very low calorie diets without resistance training. This is why it's crucial that you must follow this verbatim, all right? Your body can't recover on such low calories, right? So we're doing the bare minimum required to maintain muscle. We're not trying to build huge amounts of slabs of muscle, right? Walking, 2 sessions a week, very minimal. Train heavy, 5 to 8 repetitions. If you feel like you can squeeze out an extra rep here or there, go for it. If you can't, as long as you're maintaining, that is the minimum requirement. Do not add extra carbs and fats. No, just a little cheeky snack here or there. Stick to the plan verbatim. No fruits, grains, nuts, oils beyond fish oil. All right, it is a very strict program. Do not skip supplements, especially electrolytes. They are essential. Magnesium, potassium, sodium. Fish oil is non-negotiable. I want to do it, but I can't afford the fish oil. Don't do it. Sorry, can't do the program. All right, it's not going to cut it. Low potassium and low magnesium, you'll get fatigue cramps. You'll feel like crap. You'll blame the program for your feeling of shittiness. All right. Not taking diet breaks. So people sometimes, depending on how long you've been doing this for, people are like, oh, I'm feeling so good, more must be better. No, it is important that you have practiced diet breaks, meaning I need to practice what it's like to eat a healthy diet at maintenance calories. So minimum, you want to take 2 weeks at maintenance calories, or your new maintenance calories, by the way. You want to raise your carbs above 100 grams daily, preferably 150 is what I would recommend. Still keep your protein high. I would still keep the protein at the same amount. You're generally just increasing your carbohydrates and your fats to fill the remaining calories. Still continue exercising as per normal, right? If you need to lose more fat, then you can go back into your diet after this 2 weeks has passed. Cool? Really simple. Red flags. Stop the diet. If you have severe weakness or dizziness, can't maintain workout intensity at all, so you're losing strength rapidly, right? Everything's just going to crap. Mental fog doesn't clear after a couple of days to about a week or so, or any concerning health symptoms. Common sense. This is pretty common sense, right? But it's interesting how, so I've worked with many clients who have taken Ozempic, Mounjaro, that kind of thing, and they basically follow this by default without having to try, and they feel amazing. They feel perfectly fine. But it's also interesting how when people put themselves onto a rapid fat loss plan and all of these things start to appear, I can sometimes attribute it to either not sticking to the supplements in the low intensity program, and or it can be a nocebo effect. And these things happen where it's like, oh, I'm eating such low calories, I talk myself into having these symptoms, right? So as long as you're getting adequate sleep, sleep's super important as well. The other thing I should probably mention, if it really affects your sleep and your sleep is really crappy, then you should probably ease up on the calories, right? Sometimes that can affect you as well. This is not a long-term lifestyle. This is not forever. This is a very short-term, get fast results, get out of the diet, okay? It is not appropriate for everyone. You have to decide if it's right for you, obviously, right? It's not sustainable beyond the prescribed timeframes. The idea is to lose the fat, get back to maintenance, and try and live a maintenance lifestyle for the rest of your life. It is not an excuse to binge, right? If you are eating a very low calorie diet and then you are uncontrollably binging the next day and or on your diet breaks, it is probably not for you, right? You can use this as a tool. This is not a lifestyle, it is a tool. Kickstarting a fat loss phase, you're like, you know what? I'm just sick of how I look. Or your doctor says to you, if you don't get your crap together, you're looking at a heart attack in the next 5 years, right? These are serious health concerns. You can use it for a kickstart phase. 800 to 1,000, high protein, get your steps up, right? Special events. If you have a special event coming up, you've just been getting a bit fluffy in the last couple of months, tighten up everything for about 2 weeks, right? You can use it as a quick jump start for special occasions. Breaking plateaus, if you've been stuck for a while, tracking's probably gotten a bit loose, just tidy up for a couple of weeks. Getting back on track, then you can transition to a sustainable eating pattern, right? And again, this is emphasis on sustainable. This is not meant to be sustainable. This is why it's called rapid fat loss. When you finish, you want to follow the weight stabilization phase. So I'm actually going to be doing a complete video on this, on how to exit your diet, how I get my clients to finish their fat loss program, how I get them to enter the stabilization phase, what that looks like, what the end of a diet should look like, right? What the rate of weight gain should look like. So there probably will be a video link either on the screen at this point or somewhere in the description, so you can click on that and watch that, how to exit your diet. But having said all of that, sometimes even this still can be a bit too much for people. So obviously you can see that I have done this for clients. I am currently doing this with a client. This is not the majority of my clients, by the way. This is just the occasional, maybe 1 or 2, potentially 3 at a time out of, say, 30 to 50 clients that I train online at any given time, right? So if you need help, if you want me to do this for you and give you the support along the way, all the links will be in the description below. If you have any questions, you can message me on Instagram. If you have further questions, you can comment in the comments below. Obviously, you can also contact me at shannon@shannonbillyfitness.com. That's my email. So this is what I do for a living. I help people lose weight, try and keep it off for life. And that is all. So I hope you found this video helpful. Any questions, pop them in below and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.